Happy New Year, guys. Chris Lamm with Commerce Home Mortgage. This is our first market update for the year 2018. I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas, a great holiday season. Jumping in here, I thought it would be a good time, first of the year, to talk about what we saw take place in the housing market in 2017 and what we kind of predict will happen in 2018. So if we go back, I want to go back to actually the end of 2016, right around the time that President Donald Trump was elected into presidency, and talk about what happened with interest rates. It's really important that people understand that, interest rates right around October of 2016, the 30-year fix was right around 3.625%. Now, if we skip forward to December of 2016, just a couple months later, post-election, rates were all the way up at 4.25%, which is still a great rate, but they were about 0.75% higher within a 3-month period of time. And we in the mortgage industry would call that very volatile movement. It's not something that's normal. And as a result of Donald Trump being elected, we saw the stock market hit all kinds of records over the last year. We also saw rates go up into the low 4s. As I said before, that's still a phenomenal rate, but it's really important to take note of that because what we've seen happen in 2017, we expect to see a lot of the same in 2018. We also want to talk about inventory. Inventory in 2017 was a problem, not just in California, but nationwide. And when I say inventory, what I mean is supply and demand. In other words, if there's a house and you've got a couple people looking at this house, there's probably going to be more than one family wanting to buy the same house because there's not enough homes for sale to meet the demand of families that want to purchase them. So that inventory problem we saw in 2017, we do expect to continue to see it in 2018. And it's also one of the reasons we've seen rents at all-time highs. So the last thing I want to touch on in 2017 is values. Home values, as a result of low inventory, went up by about 7.6% in California. And I would say throughout the nation, they saw a very similar trend. Now, out here in California, prices probably went up more than most areas back east and, in Central America, not Central America, but Central United States. But home values have gone up quite a bit in 2017, and most experts are predicting we will see a very similar trend in 2018 as we move forward. As we look forward to 2018, there's a couple things I want to touch on. Now, the last video blog I did, I talked about the proposed tax reform that is now signed into law, and it is going into effect on January 1st, which, it's gone into effect now. A couple of the things that I want to touch on just to update my last market update. One of the big things that most people were the most nervous about in the real estate community was that they were proposing that someone that owns a house as a primary residence would have to live in their home for up to 5 years before they could sell it without having to have capital gains, or to basically the profit that they make on the sale of their home, they were going to have to pay taxes on. Now currently, or in 2017, you would only have had to live in a house for 2 years before you can then sell it without having to pay taxes on any profits you would have made by buying the house. It was a big, scary thing. A lot of people in the real estate community were very nervous about it. The good news is, since my last market update, that has been one of the changes that they've made, and it will stay the same to where someone that owns a home only has to live in that home for 2 years before they can then sell it with no capital gain. So that was one thing that we wanted to touch on. The second one was the mortgage interest deduction. There was a lot of different people talking about the new tax reform doing away with writing off your mortgage interest. Obviously, in the mortgage industry, this is one of the main reasons that people buy homes and get a mortgage, is so that they can write off that interest, which is a huge tax deduction at the end of the year. Now, they did make a change with it, but it's really not that big of a change, especially up here in Northern California. They limited it to $750,000 in mortgage. In a mortgage. So most people up here, you're not going to have a mortgage that high. You're not going to have to worry about that. But down in the Bay Area, where the average sales price is, above $700,000, some of those people down there are going to be a little upset with this because they will no longer be able to write off anything in mortgage interest above a loan amount of $750,000. So that was one change. And the last change we wanted to talk about is the elimination of deducting your state income taxes and your property taxes at the end of the year. This is probably the biggest one that's going to affect most people, is that you can no longer write off your state income taxes or your property taxes at the end of the year. So that's something to take note of. If you haven't been following this, you might want to talk to your CPA this year and find out how that'll affect you. Other than that, we're just really excited about 2018. There's a lot of really exciting things happening here in Redding and Shasta County. New subdivisions popping up all over the place, a lot of people buying homes, and we expect it to be a great year. If you guys have any questions as you're tax planning and getting your W-2s, getting your refunds, thinking about the ideas of selling or buying, or if you're currently renting and you want to look at what it would look like to buy this year, we would love to talk to you. You guys can call us, email us, just get in touch with us any way you can. And other than that, we will be talking with you guys next month. Have a great day.